very good. So if you're not writing stories with any amount of investigation, then probably you're not being helpful to the cause of journalism. In our field, for instance, I don't know whether any of us, this story about a ship that had an accident on the coast of South Africa, for which reason our gas project has delayed. Apart from what has been reported from the minister, Ghana Gas, the CEO's side, I've not had any independent, I've not heard of any other independent source. Really, if there was such an accident, it should be of interest to the international community. Or even if we're speaking to some journalists in South Africa to find out whether there was any such thing. But we just accepted this explanation. We all took it with a pinch of salt, but then nobody cares to.
Kwame actually called me to ask me if, apart from what Dr. Sipayanki told us, did we have any links to any story, say the international media had done about this so-called accident, or any other media house reporting the story from some other person, not from the man's comments? I said no, because our own checks hadn't revealed anything. We hadn't found anything about the story. It was just what he said.
So we should have gone ahead to find out, to speak to people, not necessarily the maritime and the various maritime authorities. I mean, they have the international organizations. Speak to all of those if there's any such.
No, my problem with that story is it's not my story anyway. Because to me, I try to ask what's the name of the vessel, so you can track from the day one when you move from China, various places you stop, and there will be GMA should readily tell you that when the vessel came, there were defects, that as a result of that. But that was the end of the story. That something happened, plates went off. I was asking the question, how relevant are those plates to delaying the facility? Is it a normal ploy to actually say that we want to finish in how do you call it? March this year, so we decided to throw that issue out there to say this, because looking at the issue now, they've paid almost $500 million. The project costs almost $800 million. They've paid over $500 million. So we don't have issue with payment again. The issue is simple. We can start negotiating the remaining 250 or 300 million payment after testing and commissioning of the project. So nobody is asking the question, so how much is involved? Is there any? Then another issue that came up, funding. And everybody reported, so let's keep quiet. Like, wow.
So again, that is still there. It's still worth exploiting. They are the same. And this year they are one and the same. So if you allow them to set the agenda, we'll never find the truth. Okay? Now, if you use this GMC drill thing, ideally, if you have all the principal actors coming to talk, you should find answers to it. But we've had the principal actors come to talk and we still don't have answers to it because they won't tell you. And they know. They have that common interest. It is for us to go behind those guys. But what you hear, I mean, this morning and yesterday and today on the morning show, what Joy did was to speak to people who has an interest. To speak to the Herald guy also has an interest. So again, although we're speaking to journalists, we're speaking to politicians.
I spoke to somebody.
So we will not get to the truth of the matter unless somebody wants to do an investigation.
Yes.
Independent of the positions of the politicians. But consistently, that's what we do. So we never get to the bottom of it. And we won't. That's all.
And I told somebody along that, do you know what it means to own a drill ship? And how much you make a day? And yesterday, after Chachu said the ship was actually making good money, and the guy comes and said, oh, you said it. I said, yes, it's true. Ask how much Eric Crowd took from us a day. Not even charging a day. So if either it works or it's just standing there for whatever reason, you pay.
Yep. So again, we should be going, know what these guys are, the noise they're making. And let's go and bring out the real facts. That will require you investigating piece. We've heard of the actors So we go behind them. But again, I keep saying that your best tool to do an investigative is to have very reliable sources. You have to build sources. People who can trust you and tell you and give you good information. It's not somebody that you see today, you want to push the microphone to the person who will tell you anything. It must be a relationship built over time. So again, if we are into this sector, let's start building relationship. Not with suppliers, no, but with people at GMPC who are not in the front line, but are working and they know the facts. Those are the people who should be your friends. And because there are some of them who see these things going on, and they just want an avenue to air it. They want somebody they trust to tell them, look, this is going on, push it out. But they must trust you first. And those people are within, so we should start cultivating these sources. And then they will be whispering and telling you things, then you can build on them. So again, I want to, let's be challenged and start doing investigative pieces. I mean, it's completely missing these days. Most of the investigative pieces are politically aligned and they have their own biases, very little interest. Now, the other side, or the other thing we want to also do, which again is lacking, is doing news analysis, where you take whatever you are writing on, you bring various expert views across. This is not your opinion. You must have a good appreciation of the issue before you do the analytical piece on it. So you're either doing an investigative piece or an analytical piece. If you read the foreign newspapers, the New York Times and Co., virtually all their stories are analytical. Okay, you won't go and read that President Obama has commissioned a project worth X amount. The project is starting on February and it will end in 5 years. When it ends, it will create jobs. You will hear that. But that's what we do. And it doesn't help. So if the president was at the Bolga, the airstrip, which is one of the projects they want to pursue, and then what they showed us is a cleared land. From what I saw from television, again, I've not been there, but I need to go there. What I see is a clear land. Who doesn't give me the hope that that project will be done? In doing your analysis, when you're writing on that story, you talk about, okay, the project is going to inspect that land. The land as it is now is bare. It will require X amount of money to do this project. We speak to an expert who will tell them, look, we are dealing with budget deficit. Is there a possibility that we can find money to embark on this project? The person will bring his view on board. What is the viability of such a project for which government might want to push and get money because it's viable? When I invest into it, I'll get a return. Then, when you do a story like that, then the person who is reading or listening knows that, okay, this project probably will not happen, or will happen because it is so key that government will find the money and do it. Or even if government does it, the economic value is not significant. And so then you would have broadened and you've enriched the reader or the listener, rather than just telling us that the president will to inspect the land, they will build an airstrip, airstrip will allow planes to fly there to carry sick people. So again, let's be doing analytical pieces for whatever thing. The local government thing is there. Oil companies are raising issues, our local players are raising issues. We bring these issues out. You speak to experts in the industry, you speak to maybe get examples for what is happening in Nigeria. We bring all those perspectives to play. Then the reader has all these things, then you can think through, so okay, this is what is happening. And we are saying that for news analysis, it must be factual, it's not your opinions. It must be very factual and it must be balanced. Not going out and then just writing one way because you're opinionated against some particular thing, then you just go. I mean, the typical Hajj newspaper. It's incredible. I wonder if that is a newspaper. Because it's like you sitting in your room and then this is what, and you just keep going on.
What you do.
It doesn't follow any format. And so he's just writing it on and on and on. Okay, but it gets review and it become the subject of discussion the whole week. So again, let's remind ourselves. I think we need to probably our seniors somehow veered off the profession. Let's see if we can bring it back.
Question of when you go to bed with politicians, what do you write? Is it not such?
It's not a question of the structure of the media house, because for many of us, and you know what I'm talking about, if I were to ask to be given, say, 2-3 days to follow a story, you can guarantee that we won't get it. Because the media owner himself does not understand that this is how journalism should be. The media owner believes that the sensationalism that the tabloids are pushing is what it should be, because that's what people listen to, not your detailed analysis and take the time and the resources to go do the story. No, they are not interested. So that if
that is not, because when you do a very good piece, people will follow it, and the same media owner who didn't have patience to wait for you to do that piece will come back to do that page because you've done a good piece.
Okay, that's the inconsistency.
It's because the end justifies the means. Once you come up with a very wonderful piece, then you appreciate that. And increasingly, when you talk to people, they'll tell you that there's so much junk being churned out. So people want something new, something more analytical. I want to listen to the news and pick something from it. Okay, those times where we're doing economics in secondary school, we listen to news and then get figures to back our points in exams. Today, if you pick figure from radio, chances has got completely out. I mean, it's inaccurate.
He was talking about a TV news story that said that the 10 projects is talking about 10 different words.
Why is the name? Yeah. Okay, and you hear a lot of sad things. Okay. So as journalists, again, let's be mindful of our call and do the right thing. Read around. Again, you have the internet. Build sources. Call people. There are people who tell the friend, look, sometimes I just want the people to just call me. Let me explain this to them. I will not speak. Explain so that they will be better informed to go out and then write whatever they want to write. So there are people there. You have to cultivate those people. You should have that trust that when you tell you those things in confidence, you're not going to mention them somewhere. Okay? And if you're able to do analytical pieces, then really it's not always that you need to quote somebody. Because you are doing an analytical pieces, analyzing an issue, you have the capacity to do that. It's not an opinion. They bring all the facts to bed. So again, let's challenge ourselves to that. Let's read more, let's build our own capacity. Now what you need, you should be curious. If you're a journalist, you're not curious, then you're in your own profession. That is standard. When you are going home, if you see something, see people gathered, and you are not naturally drawn to see why people have gathered, then it means you are in your own profession. You should be very curious. Very critical. You shouldn't be the one to just accept somebody's yes for a yes because the person says an expert. No, you should examine whether what the person say really stand the test of time, or the person just has an agenda and push. So very critical. We should read a lot, and as I said, we should cultivate and maintain sources, and let's also remember to be ethical. Again, we're just reminding ourselves we need to dig deep. A lot of the times that we just do the surface of the story and then we move on. That's not very helpful. And I think politicians are very much aware now that what we Ghana, when you do the thing, they report it after the first week to die down, go home and enjoy your beach. So they'll go ahead with it. So the things keep recurring. A lot of the things that are written today, I've written them 4 or 5 years back. And I see that so this they happened before. They just recur like that. This recent VAT 2.5 VAT when it went up, and then the opposition boycott left the parliament and said what they did was unparliamentary. I've heard this before, so I just went Googled, and then the GNA story that was done when the National Health Insurance Levy was introduced. If you pick that story, in fact, you can just go and lift the lead of that story and place it for this one, and you will not be wrong. The same thing. The opposition walked out, said what the government side in Parliament did was unparliamentary. I mean, just the same thing. Okay, and it's just the same. Political parties that have exchanged rules. So now I was thinking that if we're doing that story on this VAT thing, you bring back what happened to a similar levy, because it's essentially the same. The NHIL levy is VAT in a different name. So you bring that back and you bring this one, it enriches your listeners. So okay. So these guys, really, how should we look at them? But then we went ahead and put this one, like that. When things change, you will see, they will bring another increment. This will also boycott, as if you know them. It's so funny. But if you're doing analytical pieces, then our stories will be able to bring some of those things. If you're radio, probably can go. GBC will have some of those. They'll have those tapes. You can go to GBC, get voices from them, and play it back. If you played Bagman saying that this is unparliamentary, so they are walking out when NHIL thing happened. If you play that when this one happened today, people have a different view. Okay, our parliamentarians, what's happening? Because the NDC people who walked out today are now accusing these guys who walked out today. Remember, they stayed in the other time when NDC walked out. That's what's going on. So you bring all those things out. And if you just did the story talking about today without linking us to what happened some time ago in relation to the same thing, then we're not helping ourselves. And I think, and I also bring up the issue of our libraries. A lot of the media houses don't have libraries. Some pretend to have, apart from GBC, really. The whole graphic now probably will have them. Now that they have an online thing, because not for. If you go to go through newspapers, it will be a difficult thing. But now that they have the online, you should be able to have those soft copies there so they can easily pull out stories and then make references to. If you're watching the foreign media, they are analyzing an issue, they will play back. This did happen 10 years ago, this is what happened. 30 years earlier, this is what was said. And then they make all those references. And so you get a better perspective, a clearer perspective. So we should be doing that as well with our stories. So we should dig deep. We should look out for the public interest, not the politicians' interest. And again, it's not a story that you want to start and get it that very day. It's a process. You hit the wall sometimes, you re-strategize and you go again. So that's the key. Be mindful of that. Now, just to add again, I think we've talked about this, that you have to be analytical, but to be self-disciplined, because sometimes when you're investigating stories, people will beat you, try to kill the story, they make all kinds of offers to you. Sometimes you go through your bosses, they make all kinds of offers and all of that. You have to be very resilient. Our system is so loose, so it makes it very difficult. I was interacting with a journalist from Bloomberg in the US. When they go for business events, even if they give them, they have gifts beyond a certain amount, I think beyond $20. If you accept it, you have to. Any gifts that the value is more than $20 or something, very, 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 very minimal. So probably you can accept the very loose pens. But if you are giving a pen that is sophisticated, that is worth more than $20, then you took it, you fired.
But that means you won't be fired.
What you said in India, people come an event, or even take lunch in good of Islam.
So they have those streets. They have those streets, and again, it's easier for them to, because their culture also allows that. We have a cultural system where we are naturally sympathetic. Somebody comes to visit you, you walk the person all the way to the lorry park and wait for the person to sit in the bus, wave before you walk back home, even if you are busy. They will see you off at the, you open the door and say bye to you. You're off.
Others even pay what is the fare of them. come to my house, I will pay your fare in and out.
So we have that. It's a challenge.
For your benefit.
That's a challenge that confronts us. I still have to do the story. And look, if you're able to, if somebody offers you a gift or money, and you went ahead and did the story, the person will feel a pain in the heart. The person will respect you. He knows that, okay, this guy is not the one you can influence. And one day you tell somebody, this guy can influence you, then you chop your mind, but you do the story. And they'll respect you. They won't tell you because fine, they've been hurt. Probably he has to respond to a bigger boss who asks that they should do the job. So, but again, it helps you. So,
if you know, you go ahead and do the story.
Yeah, you have the right not to. And if you still did that, what you mean to that person next time will probably not do it again because he knows that he was going to do something in front. He will lose the money and he will not get a story that famous. So let's be mindful of that. It requires a lot of courage as well to do investigative pieces because there are risks involved, and also to do analytical pieces because usually if you did an analytical piece, you are being factual to hurt some people. Those people, some of them will even call you and threaten you, call your boss and threaten you, all those things. But once you know you're being factual, you shouldn't be scared. If you cause threats and all of that, you come to do that. It's part of the game. And let's do a lot of research. It's important that we do a lot of research all the time. And again, as I've said, let's have sources, people that we can always call and speak to. Okay. I'm sure you'll be following this discussion on the 40s. The equity fund that wants to buy the merchant bank. And there are all kinds of discussions on whether the Bank of Ghana has done the right thing or not. That's okay. There are people who have been head of bankers' provision of Bank of Ghana. If I was still in the profession, I'll go and see those guys, have a chat with them, what is the process, and going through the approval system. You do the initial, they come to the point of approval and principle before they give you the final approval. What's the process? Then they'll give you detailed steps. And then you come and do that because this is the process. And the person has given you the facts. When you come and do the write-up, this is the step the Bank of Ghana is supposed to go through. And this is the conclusion that will allow them to give somebody approval in principle. It's factual. And a retired head of banking supervision will give you that. Once he knows you, and you build that relationship with the person, you don't go and rely on what they are going to say. But that's what is happening in the media. Andrew at best is also he has a second-hand information. So why don't you go to the source? Rather than go and report Andrew, and you wouldn't know whether he has his own interest. But that's what you're doing in the media. When there's head of bank supervision, there are people who have worked at the Bank of Ghana and they know the in and out. They can even give you the procedure and all that. Why should you rely on Awuni? You want to go for it yourselves. So again, the 40th thing will go round, and that's it. If for political reasons, government says okay, it will go, and it's because of political reasons, not because it will be beneficial or otherwise to the country. So again, let's be mindful of that. We allow the politicians to take steps. That means we are in danger.
John.
Now, we're saying that in trying to do an investigative piece, there are no rules, there's no standard procedure that we must follow to do an investigative piece. There are shared goals, there are common standards, but there's no one universal model for investigative reporting. So the issue is that to make sure that what you're doing, you unearth something new. You're not reporting something that everybody knows. No, but you're supposed to bring out something that nobody else is aware. It should be something that is of impact on society. Not because some politician has an interest, that's what it is. If the politician's interest happen to coincide with the interest of the state or the society, of course. So let's keep those things in mind. But what I want us to do here is let's tell ourselves that okay, for each year, at least let me try to do one investigative story. We'll add that to our resolutions for 2014. and just make sure that even if it is one that you want to do in a year, And let's stop following the politicians.
Megaphone channel.
Yeah, we can serve as that's where an interview will not get you the opportunity because then you speak, the person go on and then that's it. So this guy says that. But if you do a report, then you're able to bring all those things out within one story. The person listens to a 1.5 minute report and gets all the angles to it. So but there's less of reports. The report was a regular thing back in the days. You don't see a lot of that these days.
We're chasing everything. There's I think maybe the pressure has doubled.
The pressure has always been there.
So it's like you're always chasing. And in my case, he can send me like 15 mails a day.
And he's calling, he hasn't got a cell phone.
No, he doesn't have, but
so
he will take
his
his
this person's call and call you.
Yeah.
So you can get 3 different calls, 3 different entities.
Different mobile. He used the mobile phone, but he does not own it now.
Yes,
Yeah,
he doesn't
he
I
own it.
thought he does not use the phone at all.
No. He uses this. So he probably is in the car with the driver, and he will take the driver's phone and call you. So you see when you know that you know the driver. So is this driver? We call hello, right? And it's the boss. Have you heard this story? You know, so the pressure is always been there.
Go and get it, eh? Go and get it. God bless you, thank you, sir.
But it's also
Emily, why is funny?
But again, I think when you agree to have a certain structure, at the time when they tell you that, look, this story cannot be an interview, it must be a report. This story must be a straight piece. Because that person has the ability to ask the right questions. So it comes out well, you know, but this is just in the interviews, some of the interviews, the person hasn't got a good appreciation. So again, we need to do a lot of reading around. Have we had a look at the LI on the local content?
It's not available. It's only certain aspects.
It's available if you want it. Going to
Send it to our mail. No, we need it.
I'm not going to the soft copy yet because I have the hard copy, so I've not pushed to get the soft copy. But I wanted it, so I went there. Again, I was relying on sources that are built, although I don't use them now, but they are still relevant. So I went there and he told them, hey, get it for him. And then everybody started running around until they got it. So let's build sources and then we need to do some business. And just throw it away because it's full of jargons. No, it should be exciting. The person should want to read and read and read. When you go for an assignment and the issues they are talking about are very technical, after that, call the person on the site. Be frank with the person. Let the person take you through. By that, you have educated yourself. It's important. I say that this job is a job that you can become an expert after 3, 4, 5 years in it. Because each day, you are given information from very strong sources. As in general education, you are learning about things. So make sure you understand each assignment that you go, understand the issue. And not just the workshop has opened, the 3-day workshop has been opened in Accra to discuss, that's it. No. What is the workshop about? How is that going to impact on what? What are the pitfalls? You know, let your story be on that. I'll be more excited than the 3-day workshop has been. So I'm saying that we need a lot of investigative and news analytical pieces, and particularly for our sector. We've all said that we don't want the oil to follow the gold and the diamonds. But if you're going to continue to write the stories that we write about the sector, then chances are that you will follow the golds and the diamonds. The same thing will happen. If you're not going to do analytical pieces, at this time you should have friends at GMPC with the contractors and subcontractors. You should have sources. You'll be whispering and telling me all kinds of stuff. So as you go on the field trip, please cultivate sources. Some of the people that you meet, when you pick their numbers, call them back and establish a relationship with them. It's very, very important. These are contacts that you have and will have them for life. So let's note that. So we are saying that we cannot only blame the politicians if we fail with the oil. We also have a major role to play. If you're not doing our work well, then you can't just sit and say that it's a politician who just didn't manage it well. He also didn't play a role very well. So let's be mindful of that. I think that's about it for this one. Do you have any questions you want to ask? Particularly maybe some of the challenges that confront you in your newsroom that's making it difficult for you to do the kind of analytical pieces you want to do. And then
puts you off in a way. They either say they can't talk to you, or they keep postponing when they will be available. And so you move on. Like, you know, journalists, you always have things to do. So you move on to the next issue or something. And it makes it difficult. So the next time you meet the same person, it's like you are a new person. It's the first time you're meeting again. So there isn't that relationship all the time. It's difficult.
You have to, but that's why the word is cultivate. Okay, it's like cultivating means you clear the land. When you put, you nest it. You make sure it grows and matures. So you have to put in an effort. There are people that my initial contacts were confrontational. They wouldn't want to look into my face when they seem they want to dodge. But I'll persist. And a lot of them have become very good friends till date. And they are very wonderful sources to me. So again, that shouldn't put you off. Call them, you follow up with them, they'll put you through your way. There was a source that Bank of Ghana, at the time, I tried him several times, you didn't get to interviews, you could talk to me. And each time, I keep pestering him, you like worrying me. The one day he opened up, he spoke to me off record, so it's okay. And I think I used the story, and I'm very sure he liked the way I managed the story. So he keeps talking to me. He got to a point, you call me, have you heard this? I said, no, you give me plenty of serious filler. Now put the thing out and it creates all kinds of excitement in the system. It's a source I've cultivated. He's retired now, but we are still friends. So we have to make that effort. You don't give up. Some will take 3 years before they go accept to become your friends. Yeah. But you are calling, you meet them, you approach them. Anytime you see them, you just approach them. They will smile to you, some will look at you. Very funny. I mean, it's your job. You want something from them, so you don't stop. So let's cultivate sources. And it's very, very important. If you don't, then you will.
And you know, sometimes some insights, some basics about it before you approach them. But sometimes all you know is that's
very
small thing that you know. But and then they want you to tell them more before they can open.
Try and do as much search as you can. So it's very useful that you have, there are some big men in the system who probably know. If you spoke to him, he can call somebody who will tell him to talk to this other person for you. So then he comes to you and gives you an additional information, and you pick the info. So you just have to have those people in the system. I had one such person, and I was calling him almost every day about everything. And then he said, okay, I'll get back to you. And you get back to me and say, okay, this guy told me this. So you go move around up this. And then go. And you find the thing. So there are people like that. It took a lot of effort. Yes, you need to even that's because they should become your friends. That's why they will willingly volunteer to you. For those first few years or months, you do that.
So it's also an issue about trust. Do I trust you also? And asking you if you know more about the subject is about how they cultivate their trust. So it's also important that, unfortunately, for a trust issue, it does not happen overnight. It's not like love at first sight. So you have to give it time. And some sources you cultivate today, you will only use it 2 years down the line. And that's okay if you're still doing what you're doing. So you have to.
People are really suspicious. They think you're an agenda. All kinds of. And then they summon me to come and meet with them. I went. The man was 7. The CEO and the next 7 big people. With myself. That's scary. After we're done, we became friends, and we are friends today. So because you realize that okay, had no sinister motive. And the story, I think, was factual. That's that it's affected them, but it's factual. So, I mean, that's what it is. What I want to do essentially is to take us to some key elements of this legislative instrument. It's a legislative instrument. So there's a policy, and then we have the LI. So it was taken to Parliament, and then after 21 days, it matures. That's what the agenda of this. The LC is local content. So just shorten it, the local content. So look at the main agenda of this local. Look at some of the key elements of the LI. We look at again how they want to enforce the provisions in this regulation, and then the issue of penalties that